Hey, what's going on? All right, let me make sure I'm riding solo this evening, so I need to make sure that I am live. Let me just take a quick look here because I have some interesting things. I say that a lot. It's always something interesting, right? It's always something interesting. So, all right, cool. It looks like we are live. Yep, cool. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. Wow. I keep looking at the news and it's so much happening, so much going on. And I'm like, I just need to, it's like I need to take a break. And there's so much footage that's coming from Israel right now. So much. And majority of it, there's no way I can show it to you. I mean, it's on X, and on X you're seeing everything. I mean, they're not holding anything back. I mean, nothing. Absolutely nothing. You think about it, it's on X. I mean, it really is. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, it's crazy how much information is out there and the way it's showing up. Okay, let me get on with it here. Let me share this first thing with you. Now, I always do commentary on a lot of videos and stuff like that. And, from other news networks and stuff that they're sharing, and from Congress, from Capitol Hill, the White House, et cetera, et cetera. Well, I want to share one with you from what I call MSSTD, which is actually MSNBC. And this young man that's on here, that's with them right now, I suspect that this is more likely going to be his last time. And I could be wrong. I could be wrong in this. But I suspect it's going to be his last time showing up on MSSTD because of what he says about Israel. Now, we already know MSSTD, they have the same mindset as Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, all of them. The only time they ever care about anyone that's from Israel is when it's about money. When it's about money, they act like they care about them all day long. But when there's no money involved, they don't care. I'm telling you. But I want y'all to listen to this young man. I want you to listen to what he says, because he straight up says exactly what a lot of people are feeling. And a lot of people are wondering why it's even like this. Okay. So let me share this with you.
Tell us, if you will, just what these last few days have been like for you, and why it's so important that you are appearing here today with the Reverend Sharp.
Well, so I will be honest, and maybe a little more vulnerable than I normally would be. These have been some of the hardest days of my adult life. I don't ever remember a moment like this. I have family in Israel right now under siege and being deployed to the front lines. I have staff who can't locate their family. I have friends who are gone. And I think Ambassador Danone put it well in a context that Americans can understand. 9/11, the evil that was perpetrated here. But the scale, Jonathan, the right comparison is Nagasaki. This was like an atomic bomb. And as 40,000 people were killed in Japan when they dropped that bomb in Nagasaki, so too were the hundreds upon hundreds of people who were killed in Israel. And so while I am sad and trying to cope, I'll be honest, I am angry. I am angry with the world that allowed the dehumanization of Israelis and sanitized the terrorism of Hamas. I must say, I love this show and I love this network, but I've got to ask, who is writing the scripts?
See this? You see this? This is the reason why I said that he's probably done, because he said he loves the show, he loves the network, but who's writing the scripts? Because they've been anti-Israel for as long as I've ever been watching television. They've been anti-Israel. I haven't seen them be otherwise. Just like you see, Communist News Network, all of them, they only like people from Israel when it comes to money. Other than that, they could care less. They could give a hoo-hoo. when it comes to the people in Israel. And he just sit there and said, I love the show, I love the network, but who's writing the script? Meaning like he's calling them out. He's actually calling them out. And I'm like, man, this dude is like being bold right here and telling them, he's straight up telling them to their faces. And they're not even saying anything because they have shown their hatred for Israel.
Hamas, the people who did this, they are not fighters, Jonathan. They are not militants. And I'm looking right at the camera. They are terrorists. It is a barbarian who rapes and brutalizes women, who kills children in front of their parents, and then brings them over to Gaza, who literally, we've heard all these reports, and we know these aren't just reports. These were filmed gleefully by the barbarians who committed these grotesque crimes. They filmed, for example, an elderly woman in her home in one of these towns. They burned her alive in her house because she was too infirm to take out. And, parading women, bleeding from the crotch because they were raped throughout Gaza while people hoot and holler and cheer. So look, when we say, oh, this was an escalation, it was bound to happen, I am sorry. This was a massacre that was pre-planned. This was not destined to happen. It is not normal to shoot teenagers in the back, hundreds of them. So
And he's referring to when they were having, he's referring to when they had a rave. There was a rave that was going on, a whole bunch of kids, teenagers, young adults having a rave. They're all at a party, having a good time outdoor. And they came in on those parachutes, right? I forget what they call them. Paragliders or something like that, where they can sit down in them and have the motor behind them and they fly in and have the parachute on top. They flew in on those because they could carry the gear with them. And they just started doing just these young people. I mean, it's horrible. I can't even show it to you. It's that bad. And of course, you have the left saying, oh my goodness, we need a ceasefire. And guess who they're asking for the ceasefire from? They're asking Israel to do ceasefire, but they're not asking Hamas to ceasefire, right? Hamas started this. They sent over 5,000 rockets. There's video of them in New York City supporting the people killing Israel. And they're saying, oh yeah, they sent over 5,000 rockets. And they all started cheering here in the United States of America. And I'm looking at this stuff and it's just unbelievable. Now, this part right here really truly makes me think that we're living in the last days. I don't know if you have, but I've watched these movies called the Left Behind series. And the Left Behind series are really good, but they're fictional. And a lot of people don't want to hear that because a lot of people think that the end times is going to be like it is in the movies. It's not going to be like it is in the movies. I don't know why people think that, but it is what it is. But this still makes me think about it because this is the United Nations. And I want y'all to listen to what they're saying at the United Nations, because the United Nations, just like we expect it to play out, because they're going to be against Israel. They won't even acknowledge that the Hamas did this. The Hamas went in and started just killing people left and right. It's like they won't even acknowledge that. You know what they're acknowledging? They're acknowledging what Israel had to do to defend themselves. What kind of world are we living in? It makes me think about here in the United States of America, how you have the left constantly saying that they need to disarm the American people to protect children, et cetera, et cetera. And then when all of these people that they don't know who crossed the border, when they start reaping havoc, or for example, they're going to be like, the left is going to be like, well, don't be aggressive towards them, right? You hear this all the time from liberals. And there's even instance where they're saying, I think it was Milwaukee. I can't remember exactly. Don't quote me on it. But there was one particular location in the United States of America. If a thug criminal broke into your home, the leftist liberals say that you need to retreat to your bedroom and you can't do anything to them. They literally came into your home. And you don't even know what their intentions are. You go to the bedroom. Oh, you're in the bedroom. What do you think they're going to do? Their intent is to come in and probably harm you. And the left, they're saying disarm yourself so you can't protect yourself. And this is exactly what they're doing. They want Israel to defend them, not to be able to defend themselves. Watch this. Watch this. You can't make this stuff up. It's almost like we're watching the movie Left Behind. This is the United Nations. Listen.
On behalf of the OIC member states, we express our deep concerns over the loss of innocent lives in the occupied Palestinian territory and elsewhere. Regrettably, this huge loss of lives and unabated violence is a sad reminder of more than 7 decades of illegal foreign occupation, aggression, and disrespect for the international law, including UNSC resolutions.
Are you hearing this? Now, see, you see the sign next to him, Pakistan. You see what he has next to him, Pakistan, right? You see that? He's not talking about what I'm hearing here. He's not talking about, he's saying Israel's occupying Palestine. Listen to him. And they're already, this is United Nations already turning on Israel when they simply defended themselves. You can't make it up. Watch this.
The 16 years of illegal blockade of Gaza continues to raise question over the applicability of international law and fundamental freedoms to the innocent civilian population. Efforts to normalize and perpetuate illegal foreign occupation is breeding violence.
You see that right there? They're saying because the Israelis live there, you know, kind of like you live in your state or whatever it is. But now you got people coming across the southern border in the United States of America. And at some point, they're going to tell you to get out. I'm telling you, hear me now, but leave me later on, because look what's happening in New York. Look what's happening in Chicago. They've already made Americans get out of their homes. Y'all ain't hearing me. It's the exact same thing, but a lot of people can't make the connection. Have y'all seen the video footage? Have y'all seen what's happening out of New York? The illegals come in and they make American citizens get out on the street. They made an elderly man get out on the street. They're doing this to Americans. And the same thing that they're wanting to do to the Israelis. They've been there for how long? Let them live there. It's not like the other people, the Shiites and the Sunnis, don't have humongous land that they can live on. They don't care. They want the Israelis gone. It's crazy. And it's not even about territory. It's not even about territory with these people. It's not. And I'm going to prove it to you.
There is a need for immediate steps to ensure the realization of the right to self-determination of the Palestinian people and also achieving a just two-state solution on the borders of June 4th, 1967, with East Jerusalem as the capital of the state of Palestine.
You hear this? Listen.
We call on all parties to exercise restraint and honor the human rights obligations. In this context, the so-called declaration of war and attacks on civilian population and their properties is deeply distressing. We remain concerned about the human cost of the escalating situation. Our hearts and prayers also go out to our brothers and sisters in Afghanistan owing to the devastating earthquake and huge loss of life.
You hear that? So they're even talking about an earthquake. You know, it kind of makes me think about wars, rumors of wars, earthquakes in diverse places, pestilence, famine. Does that remind anybody of anything? Have you ever heard of that before? Have you?
We request observing 1 minute silence for the loss of innocent lives, including women, children, and the elderly. It is also an occasion to remember victims of decades of foreign occupation in the occupied Palestinian territory.
Wow.
I request you all to stand for 1 minute to honor those victims.
They're literally saying that the Israelis are occupying Palestine. That's what they're saying. And they don't care about them being there. They just want them out. And look at this. They get everyone in this UN Council to stand up. Look at this. Look at this. This tells me that they're already, all of them are teaming up against Israel. This is what this tells me. You tell me, what does it say to you? This is at the UN, right? This is at the UN. I promise you. And they got all of them to stand up saying that Israel is occupying the land that's not theirs. And they've been there. They are there. But guess what? Let me give you an example, because you have the left. They want to get it. They want Americans out of this country. They want you and I, right? They want us out because they said that the United States of America belongs to indigenous people. They say that all the time. Like today, they said today is Columbus Day / indigenous people. Like they completely changed it. And what happens when you give the liberal left an inch? they take a mile. So they put Columbus Day / Indigenous People. Pretty soon it would just be Indigenous People Day. And they're going to drop Columbus altogether because that's how they operate. They've done that through and through for years. Here's another one that I want to share with you. Now, this is on the Communist News Network, and his name is Fareed, and he's actually bringing up a good point for a change. He's saying, don't you think? And I think he's just setting it up for setting up the stage to make it look like that he's asking tough questions and that he's being neutral and it's just, one thing or another. Listen, because he's going to talk about how Israel was attacked. Don't you say that this is wrong. But this guy right here, he's going to straight up say, yeah, but that's not what's actually happening. Have y'all seen anything what's happening? Have y'all seen anything? Who did this? Who started it, right? Have y'all seen anything? Listen to this.
What Hamas is doing is they're targeting Israeli civilians, women, children, grandmothers.
No, they are not.
Is that not a classic terror? Isn't that classic?
Did you hear him? He go, no, they're not. Yes, they are. 100%. 100%.
Classic terrorism. They're not fighting the Israeli government. They're fighting ordinary people.
That's one way of putting it, but it's not true.
He said that's one way of putting it, but that's not true. Now listen to this. And this is the exact same thing that happens every single time. Now, I don't live in Israel, okay? But I know someone that's in Israel right now. His name is Dave Robbins. Endtime.com, endtime.com. He's there right now, and I've been in contact with endtime.com talking about Dave Robbins. He can't even get a flight out because they shut the planes down. There's no flights in, no flights out, at least not from the United States of America. But they're purposely went in and they targeted innocent men, women, and children. They're calling this the 9/11 of Israel because it was just a surprise attack, which leads me kind of to some other questions, like how did they not know, right? That's a whole different thing. We can talk about that as well. But I'm like asking the question, how did they not know? But listen to what he's spewing here, because he's literally lying. They go in and they attack, and then they turn around and blame Israel for defending themselves. And again, this is about Israelis, not territory. Don't let them fool you.
I think Hamas mainly attacked military establishments, military installations. And most of the people they have arrested and taken as war prisoners are military people. I do not accept attacking any civilian. I do not accept that Israelis attack our civilians. But look at what Israeli planes are doing now in Gaza.
You see, just like clockwork. Just like clockwork. He says he doesn't condone any of the attacks on civilians, but then he goes, oh, look what Israel's doing. Look what Israel wouldn't be doing this had they never attacked in the first place. Israel wouldn't be doing this had Joe Biden never released $6 billion to Iran in the first place. Iran is at a proxy war with Israel using Hamas. Would never be here had Joe Biden and the Democrats never released the money on September 11th, 2023. But they did, because they want the world to go into World War III.
They are bombarding houses. They're bringing down to earth, and you've shown that on your screen. Whole apartments, whole buildings, high-rise buildings are brought down to the ground, and we already are receiving reports about families who are killed. 9 people in one family, 10 people in another family, including children. I do not want any civilian to be hurt, neither by Palestinians or by Israelis. But the question is how to end that. Will it end by attacking Gaza Strip another time? Israel has already conducted 5 wars on Gaza. One of them lasted 51 days. They destroyed everything. This did not stop Hamas, did not stop resistance. There is one way to stop any violence, and that is to end the Israeli occupation.
Right there. Right there. See, they didn't care less who's doing all these attacks. He says the only way to stop this is to end Israel's occupation. And they're like, well, we don't care where they go. Be honest with you, they want them off the planet. They can care less where they go. You understand that? He just literally said we have to end the Israeli occupation. That land belongs to Israel. It belongs to the Israelites. I mean, they have everything else. They have Turkey. They have Libya. They have Afghanistan. They have Iraq. They have Iran. Those are large territories. Allow them to have that little sliver of land. Just let them have it. Be through with it. Just say, you know what? If they go, well, you know what? We're just going to let them go ahead and just, have this piece of land, and we'll just mind our business over here. It'll be done deal. But they don't want that. They want the Israelites gone altogether. They don't have nothing to do. They don't want them to be anywhere close to them. Nowhere close. But you know what? You have people in the United States of America, you get like the rhinos, right? All of them are actually calling for war. They want us to go to full-on World War III. Let me give you an example. Here's Tucker actually talking about Dan Crenshaw. Dan Crenshaw, I don't trust Dan Crenshaw. Maybe a lot of y'all love Dan Crenshaw. Maybe you're upset with me talking about Dan Crenshaw, but Dan Crenshaw is a snake. I don't trust him. He's worse. He's actually worse than McCarthy. I'm telling you, he's worse than McCarthy. Listen to what Tucker is saying about Dan Crenshaw.
Texas Congressman Dan Crenshaw took to social media to call for what he described as a war to end all wars, as if there is such a thing. But of course, there isn't such a thing. Wars beget more war. The bigger the conflict, the uglier and longer lasting the consequences. See World War I for details.
Yeah, see World War I for details. And I have another one here I want to share with you. Listen to Nikki Haley. Listen to what she says about this. They're all they can think about is destruction. They want to destroy Russia and destroy Iran. And attacking Russia and attacking Iran is a quick way to go into World War III. Listen to her.
This is not just an attack on Israel. This is an attack on America because they hate us just as much. And what we have to understand is this is the reason that we have to unite around making sure our enemies do not hurt our friends. America can never be so arrogant to think we don't need friends, just like we needed them on 9/11. That's why Ukraine needs us when Russia's doing this. That's why Israel needs us when Hamas and Iran are doing this. And I'll say this to Prime Minister Netanyahu, finish them. Finish them. Hamas did this. Iran's behind it. Finish them. They should have hell to pay for what they've just done.
I mean, I'm like kind of torn between there because if you came into, just imagine if someone come into your house and they constantly keep coming to your house and they're stealing your stuff and they're taking the life of your family members in your house and they keep coming back. I mean, at some point you need to do something. But her goal, just like this nut job here, Lindsey Graham, their goal is to take us into World War III. That is the ultimate goal that they're trying to do. Do not, you know what? The only reason why I'm sharing this with you, because you need to get prepared. I truly believe that we're living in the last days. This is all happening right now. I believe this could possibly very well be the war that kind of sparks off to take it to the next level, to start the war in the Euphrates River. And if you never looked that up, look up the war in the Euphrates River, what it says in the Bible. Because that war in the Bible alludes to killing one third of mankind will die as a result of that war starting in the Euphrates River. Y'all need to go look at the map and see where Euphrates River is. Watch this.
Well, for every Israeli or American hostage executed by Hamas, we should take down an Iranian oil refinery.
See, he's just admitting right there that it's Iran. He's admitting that it's Iran. And he's talking about blowing up Iran, right? It's a proxy war. And to my understanding, World War I and World War II, both of those there were proxy wars happening before it went to full-on war. We're right here again. I'm not going to stop it again. Listen.
The only way you're going to keep this war from escalating is to hold Iran accountable. How much more death and destruction do we have to take from the Iranian regime? I am confident this was planned and funded by the Iranians. Hamas is a bunch of animals who deserve to be treated like animals. So if I was Israel, I would go in on the ground. There is no truce to be had here. I would dismantle Hamas. This is the best opportunity Israel has to destroy Hamas. Take it to the Iranians. If you harm one American in Syria by using your Iranian militia against us in Syria, if you escalate the war by urging Hezbollah to attack Israel in the north.
I mean, you hear are y'all hearing him? Right? Are you hearing him? And he's actually calling for the United States of America to get involved in doing this. He's actually calling for that. I mean, Lindsey Graham has always been a tyrant. Again, just like Nikki Haley, attack Russia, attack Russia, attack Russia. And now they're saying attack Iran, attack Iran, attack Iran. Are you hearing this? I mean, can y'all hear World War III knocking at the door, or is it just me?
If Hamas kills one American and Israeli hostage, we're going to blow up your oil refineries and put you out of business. It is now time to take the war to the Ayatollah's backyard.
Yeah, I mean, dude. I mean, y'all hear this? I mean, this is truly like the verge of taking us into World War III. And it's like no one is really paying attention to that. This is taking us into World War III. I mean, this is what's happening. This is actually happening right before our very eyes. It's not that we're watching a movie either. Now, I have something else I want to share with you, but the main gist of tonight's video, and if you haven't shared it, is that Israel has declared full siege. They're going to go full in. I mean, I think they kind of being, watching where they're going right now, but it looks like it's about to go full on. They're about to go all out. And you know what? After all of these years, if I was the leader of Israel and you're constantly bombarding me with these rockets constantly, and then we have to put up an Iron Dome just to protect ourselves because you keep trying to kill us all. I mean, you kind of like leave no choice. Now, I don't want us to go into a World War III scenario, but it also makes me think about, is this possibly what the Bible is referring to, where they can actually create a peace deal? You understand what I'm saying? A peace deal where they can negotiate. Okay, we're going to have a peace deal. We'll have a two-state solution, because if they push them all out, they're going to be out. Israel is too strong. And see, Israel is an actual ally of the United States of America, not like Ukraine, corrupt Ukraine. Ukraine is corrupt through and through. Ukraine is corrupt just as much as Joe Biden is. And y'all know how corrupt he is. We're seeing all this information. And I bet you right now they're all happy. Oh, all eyes on Israel right now. They're not going to pay attention because they don't have a house. They don't have a House representative right now. They don't have a speaker. Isn't that a coincidence too? Isn't that a coincidence? Now, I'm not saying that the U.S. government colluded with Israelis or Hamas. Maybe they did. Maybe they didn't. I don't know, but it gets people's wheels turning, and that's how stuff starts going out there. But, I don't know, and I'm not going to claim one way or another, but you got to think about it. Isn't it the timing and all of this kind of interesting? And you remember, let me remind everybody, they just set off an alert on people's mobile phone just the other day. Is something else coming? Are y'all with me on this? I'm like paying attention to this stuff, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, I'm thinking out loud now. Oh, they just had an alarm going off. Does that have anything to do with anything? Let's just say it doesn't. But the timing of it makes it questionable. And then all of a sudden we don't have a speaker. And then they're like, oh, wait a minute, it's like the prime time. Oh, and on top of that, if they get someone to come in there and actually put the foot down as speaker and actually look into Joe Biden, all the corruption and the corruption of the Democrats, and they start finding out all this information, we need a distraction. I told people, I said, y'all need to be on the lookout. another distraction's coming. But I'm going to share with you, let me move on, because I'm going to share with you tonight a video where Israel, they're saying they're done. They're cutting their food off. They're cutting everything off to them. And they said it's game on. I don't think they're going to drop leaflets. Have y'all ever heard of that? Have you ever heard of that? Your enemy going to drop leaflets down and tell you to get out the area because we're getting ready to blow this area up because you've been trying to kill us from this location. You understand what I'm saying? Have you ever heard of such a thing? That's what the Israel army, that's what they do. They go in, they see the rockets coming, and they say, oh, look, we're getting ready to take out this location because y'all keep trying to kill us from here, so you might want to leave. Who does that? But again, it is all about removing the Israelites 100%. It has nothing to do with territory. They don't care. That piece of land is just slightly bigger than New Jersey. Listen to this.
Yeah, not only what's really important, but also what is really dangerous. The truth is that the magnitude of this cannot be understated. I mean, without even getting into the history of why or how the Jewish people there has been an attempt to exterminate them from the beginning of time to Hitler to now. We have a group that is doing this not for a military reason, but to destroy and kill Jews. And we have to recognize that. That's what this is about. It's not about territory. It's about killing and erasing the Jewish population. Now, the failure of U.S. and Israeli intelligence has changed the nature of terrorism. And for the first time in our country, and I think that for the first time in history, we're seeing terrorists operating in a way that is tactical, that is organized, and is orchestrated. And it's no surprise that Iran was behind it, because when you think about it, these tactical movements, they went after the military. I mean, they even seized a tank with an Israeli commander and crew in the tank. That's like unheard of in the military. They went after children and families, house to house. They put a missile into Tel Aviv from Gaza, and they have now taken hostages.
Let me stop it real quick, because there's even, there's a lot of people that call themselves on the right. And, I kind of question a lot of it. And a lot of them are saying that the Israelis have been holding the Palestinians in this area like it's an open prison, right? No one is stopping the Palestinians from leaving. So how can it be an open prison if you're not preventing them from leaving the area? The Israelites will allow them to leave. And they go, no, they can't. They can't let them leave. They won't let them leave because when they go up to the fence to leave, the Israelites make them push them back in. I'm like, that's like the dumbest thing ever. You know why? Because they're sneaking rockets in. How are they able to sneak rockets in? If they're able to sneak rockets in to shoot at the Israelites in that location, why don't you just sneak out? So how can that be a prison? Is it registering? Is it registering? Listen.
So the fact that we didn't know this was coming, the fact that even, I think Jake Sullivan said not that long ago, gee, it's been so quiet that as a secretary of, not a secretary of state, is his position of national security advisor. He said, we haven't seen something like this in decades. It's almost the calm before the storm.
Could I play that, Judge, and then have you continue? We have this, if you could pull this up, call for number 1. Here's Jake Sullivan.
Middle East region is quieter today than it has been in 2 decades. Now, challenges remain. Iran's nuclear weapons program, the tensions between Israelis and Palestinians. But the amount of time that I have to spend on crisis and conflict in the Middle East today compared to any of my predecessors going back to 9/11 is significantly reduced.
I mean, y'all hear this? This dude is saying that it's significantly reduced, right? I guess they weren't paying attention. What do you think is going to happen when you fund a terrorist organization $6 billion? Oh, they're just going to be quiet. Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. I actually have a video of, I believe it's Kirby, where he's actually saying that we know that they are a terrorist organization. We know that they spend money on terrorism around the world. We know that they do this. But yet they turned around and gave him $6 billion. Make that make sense. Mandatory Carey, thank you so much for that Rumble rant.
Simi Valley, one of the questions was, the farther we get from September 11th, the closer we are to September 10th.
Yes.
Nobody wanted to see this, but it does remind you that you have to be right 100% of the time, and they only have to be right once.
It is the calm before the storm that he did not recognize. And the lack of knowledge that both the United States and Israel had is even more concerning, because if you can't figure out how you were blindsided, then you cannot figure out how you're going to win this war. And with the enormous power of Iran behind this, and now we know, not from our government, but from the Wall Street Journal, that Iran gave the okay in Beirut, which is run by Hezbollah, let's make no mistake about that, on Monday for this attack on Saturday. It is clear that Hamas was behind this and Hamas is orchestrated. And I just want to say a couple.
Yeah, with the assistance of Iran, what they've already admitted. Iran has admitted that they're funding Hamas, and Hamas has already admitted that Iran is funding them. That's why you have Lindsey Graham saying we need to attack Iran after we just gave Iran money. They're literally trying to take this world into World War III. It's like the most idiotic thing ever, people.
A couple more things. Israel abandoned Gaza in 2005. Hamas took over in 2007. Israel allows 20,000 people a day to come from the Gaza Strip to Israel to make a living and let them go back.
You hear this? Did y'all hear that? And I'm telling you, there's people out there right now, and I'm not going to say this one person's name because he's all over X spewing out this nonsense. Did y'all hear what she just said? I have to play that one part one more time for everyone, because there's a lot of people that never heard that. Listen to the number of Palestinians that go into Israel and then go back out. But it's supposed to be a prison. They can always leave. They can always leave. Listen.
Israel allows 20,000 people a day to come from the Gaza Strip to Israel to make a living and let them go back. Israel has given Gaza to the Palestinians, and this is what they get in exchange. And going forward, I think that there's got to be no equivocation about how Israel will fight back against this barbaric invasion.
Charlie,
they don't have a choice. I mean, really, they've literally tied their hands. 20,000 people a day, 20,000 people a day, back and forth. But they want, just like she said, they want them completely gone from the location, 100%. They don't want them there at all. They don't want them there at all. And I still say that what we are seeing right now before our very eyes is biblical. It's 100% biblical, right? Because we always heard about the wars and rumors of wars. That's part of it. Could it possibly that this is going to end pretty quick? I highly doubt it at this point. And the reason why I say that, because Benjamin Netanyahu has said that we're not going to stop until they're all gone. This is it. This is the last straw. This is the last straw. And Hamas, along with Iran, saying that they're not going to stop until Israelites are all gone. And they have kidnapped Israelites and supposedly American citizens. Already, 11 American citizens have been confirmed dead. Are y'all hearing this? This is crazy. And y'all don't have to believe me on anything I'm sitting there saying. Don't believe me at all. I encourage you to go look it up. Take 5 minutes and go look it up. Google it. How many Americans have been killed in Israel over this conflict? Go Google it. The number may have changed. I could be wrong. But the last time it was there, it was 11. It could have gone up. I hope it hasn't. The loss of life happening here should never be happening. This is exactly what a lot of people said would never happen in their lifetime, what we're seeing. And I can show you other stuff, but the digital currency that they're pushing, and they're talking about by the end of this month, the Biden regime has put stuff in place that a lot of people don't know, where they're going to start implementing this digital currency along with the Federal Reserve. And they're like, oh, well, we already know about it. But yeah, right? But guess what? They're getting ready to go full on with it. So you can't tell me, see people, now this video right here, y'all need to watch this one. But y'all can't tell me that I had so many people in the past couple of days send me messages and say, Will, they've been saying this stuff for 30 years, 60 years. They've been saying this constantly. I put posts on Facebook. They go, oh, they've been saying this for 100 years. This their last days, whatever. There's never been a time in history where we're seeing the events unfold the way they are now, regardless of what people want to believe. There's never been. You look at the history, it's never been this way. The technology has never been this way. There's never been a time on the history of this earth where they can digitize or have a one world currency. It's never been to this point. Never. But now they're getting ready to try to implement it. You understand that? And then on top of this, we're having Israel go through this conflict. I mean, come on. Are we on the same page here? Maybe, you know what it is? Maybe there's some people don't see what Will Johnson's seeing. Maybe that's what it is. But let me play this clip for you. This is extremely short. It's only 15 seconds. I might have to put it on loop here, but it's only 15 seconds. Apparently, he's part of the Israeli force, and he's saying that we're no longer going to play games. We're no longer going to play games. They're going to cut off their food. They're going to cut off their water. They're cutting off their electricity. All of this in Gaza. They're cutting it all off. And they're going in. They've had it. They've had it. Listen.
אנחנו מטילים מצור מוחלט על העיר עזה. אין חשמל, אין מזון, אין מים, אין דלק. הכל סגור. אנחנו נלחמים בחיות אדם ואנחנו נוהגים בהתאם.
Okay. And for those that are listening in, I'm gonna play it and stop it and read it. So right now he says, I have ordered.
אנחנו מטילים
He says a complete siege on Gaza.
מצור מוחלט על העיר עזה.
No electricity.
אין חשמל, אין מזון,
no food,
אין מים,
no fuel,
אין דלק.
no water.
הכל
Everything is closed.
סגור. אנחנו נלחמים
We are fighting human animals.
בחיות אדם ואנחנו
and we act accordingly.
נוהגים בהתאם.
Right there. So what does that mean for the rest of the world? What does that mean? Because you see, I showed y'all the video. For those of you that were watching in the beginning, I showed you the video in the beginning where they were talking about it at the United Nations, saying, oh my goodness, the Palestinian people. These people are screaming everywhere. These people, let me share this with you. I didn't think I was going to be able to, but let me share this with you. If I can share this with you. This was out of New York. And I want y'all to listen to this because they're actually screaming in joy because over 5,000 rockets were sent to Israel. 5,000 rockets. This was in New York. This was in New York, where they have all of this illegal immigration problem. Right? How many of these people you think they're in this crowd celebrating that Israel was attacked? That's there illegally. How many you think? Probably more than half, because there's a large number of people there. These sleeper cells are already in America. Watch this.
Early morning on Saturday, October 7th, our resistance stormed illegal settlements and paraglided across colonial borders.
You see that right there? They're already celebrating that the Hamas already went into colonial borders, attacking them, and they're all cheering it on. So what do you think is possibly going to happen here in the United States of America? Leave me a comment.
Into the largest military base around Gaza, Kerim Abu Salim.
All right.
In this operation, Al-Aqsa flood, the resistance fight.
Now, listen right here. This is when she's talking about the 5,000 rockets that were shot into Israel. Watch the reaction of all of these evil people. Watch the reaction. Watch. Listen. Listen to the reaction of these evil people in New York as she talks about the 5,000 rockets sent into Israel to kill Israelis.
The resistance fires more than 5,000 rockets.
Y'all see that? This is New York. And look, there's American flag right there. Oh, and then they're showing the American flag. Like, this is what America is all about. Taking out the Israel. So my question, and I sure would love to hear somebody out of New York, because there's a lot of Jewish people in New York. My question is, what are their views? Because all of this, what you're seeing here, is a result of the Democrat Party in the United States of America. And yes, it is. And yes, I did go there. This is a result of the Democrat Party, because the Democrat Party, they keep pushing all this hatred. But for some reason, and there's some reason, when all this is happening, you still have Jewish people in New York still supporting the Democrat Party. Again, like I told y'all before, remember Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, when they were saying all these really bad things about Israel? Then Nancy Pelosi got them to sign a thing saying stop talking about them because of the money. It's all about the money. They only care about the money when it comes to Jewish people. Other than that, they don't care about them. It's sick. It's sick. For this to be happening, it should not be happening. It's 100% sick. It's going to cause major problems. If Israel decides to go ahead and attack Iran, Iran is an ally with Russia and China. What do you think is going to happen? Y'all leave me a comment. You tell me what you think is going to happen. Israel is an ally of the United States of America. Israel is the biggest ally of the United States of America in that region of the world. That's the reason why we sent a ship there. Did y'all see that? We actually sent an aircraft carrier. They're actually sending battleships there. They're actually sending them there right now. Let me show it to you. You don't believe me? You don't believe me? Now, this is just footage of them doing aerial footage of it. And, you know, the fake fact checkers, they come back around and say, oh, that's not true. That's not them actually going to Israel. That's just footage of them showing an aircraft carrier. That's all that is. It's just an aircraft carrier in the area. They've already reported that they're sending in. I mean, we can believe me or not believe me. I didn't care less. I mean, y'all know what's happening. But Israel is an ally of the United States of America. So, of course, they're going to send in. I mean, it kind of have to, right? Kind of have to. And if I'm not mistaken, Israel is a part of NATO. Y'all ponder on that for a little bit. Y'all think about that for a little bit. If I'm not mistaken, NATO is a part of Israel. So imagine if it escalates. And the last time Israel was under attack, they were on attack. I think it was between 5 and 13 days. For some reason, I have 13 days stuck in my head. Maybe it was just 10 days. But regardless, on the last day of that attacks that Israel was receiving, before this one, the rockets kept coming. Benjamin Netanyahu and the Israeli army said, okay, we've had it. We're getting ready to go in and wipe them all out. You know what happened? Joe Biden stepped in and told him, oh, don't do it. Don't do it. Let's get a ceasefire here. He didn't step in to help and protect Israel. He stepped in to protect the Palestinians, the Hamas, the terrorists. Joe Biden stepped in to protect them, not Israel. This case, to my understanding, Joe Biden has already made the call to Benjamin Netanyahu asking for a ceasefire. Because the reason why I had that perception is because Benjamin Netanyahu has already put out a statement and said no. He said no. We're not going to negotiate right now. So why would he make that statement if he was never asked that question? You understand what I'm saying? So again, then Joe Biden comes out and says, Israel has every right to defend themselves. Talking about funding both sides of the war. Talking about funding both sides of the war. We funded Iran, which is funding Hamas, attacking Israel, which is a proxy war. Iran and Israel, proxy war. We are funding Ukraine because the United States of America is at war with Russia via proxy war. Ukraine. United States of America funding Iran, which Iran is sending these killer drones, these suicide drones to who? Russia. talking about keeping the war going. They are literally trying to take our country, our world, our planet into World War III. And these people are 100% evil for doing it. If you find it in your heart and you liked anything that I said, please share this video. If you're listening, please share the audio on my audio podcast. If you go to my website, uniteamericafirst.com, you can listen to the audio podcast. It's at the top of the page. Please subscribe, download my audio podcast, because a lot of times you're on the move, you're on the go, and you can hear the information I'm sharing with you. uniteamericafirst.com. Or you can go right here to uaf.media. Right there, I put it plain and simple, uaf.media. And while you're there, please sign up for the newsletter. Please sign up for the newsletter. Let me see real quick. It's not going to let me do it. I can't tell if someone sent me stars or not, but if you did on Facebook, thank you so much. God bless you. If you find in your heart, help me, support me to continue, because things are going to get a lot worse. I don't want what's happening. I don't want what's happening in the world. Right? But I have to truly believe, and it's not that I have to, it's I do. I believe what this says. I believe what this sword says. I truly believe what it says. And it's telling me that we are in the days. It tells us in the Bible, just like it was in the days in Noah's days, like the days of Lot, so shall it be before the return of the Son of Man, before Christ returns. And I'm like, have y'all not been seeing what they've been doing to little ones? Have y'all not been paying attention? There's been wars and rumors of wars. Y'all, I encourage y'all to go read Matthew 24. It's like what's happening in the world right now, popping off the page. It really is. And if you want like a study guide and you want some more information, this is a book that I have. It's called Understanding the End Times. And you know what's really powerful about this? I mean, it's so powerful. This is what Dave Robbins and his father-in-law, Irvin Baxter. And I used to listen to Irvin Baxter for over 20 years. And never in a million years that I thought that I would be seeing what's happening right now. This quick. I thought it would be like I'd be a really old man possibly. But it's happening right now. And if y'all care to pick up one of these books, Understanding the End Times, go to endtime.com/will. And the DVDs come with the book. endtime.com/will. You won't regret it. And it's talking about what's happening right now, and more to come. God bless you, everybody. Good night.